Somebody that's supremely honest, supremely. We'll look at things from every angle and tell you what we really feel. The first thing New Yorkers will do, a true New Yorker, is they'll challenge you. They'll say something about the other person to see if you have a sense of humor. An old school example would be when I was growing up, your pants are too short. So somebody might say, hey man, it's not raining today. Somebody who's an out-of-towner would go, man, what a rude person or whatever. But if the person laughs at themselves and you go, you know, you're right, but you never know. It's always good to be prepared. Then the New Yorker will say, oh, this guy's cool. He's all right. We as New Yorkers, we're very, very supremely friendly. If you don't believe me, just walk into any bodega and just see how the customers interact with the person behind the counter. Whether it's in the South Bronx, South Brooklyn, Upper Manhattan, this city is a city of immigrants. And it's represented also very well in the music. For example, when I was growing up, salsa, which is basically Cuban music, the way we Puerto Rican New Yorkers play the music. We play with a different kind of intensity than they play the music in Cuba, where it's origin space. And you can identify that right away. The way the rhythm section plays with really hardcore intensity, the in-your-face brass, the jazz harmony and arranging technique. That's just one example. You could take any other forms of music that are played in the city. And of course, hip-hop was born where I was born in the South Bronx out of desperation. All the music programs were cut. The city had gone bankrupt through malfeasance. So no music education anymore in the public schools. So what did New Yorkers do, particularly in the South Bronx? They reinvented musical expression through using turntables, etc. And that completely changed the world. For we New Yorkers, cultural expression is our survival mode. And it's constantly being expressed, whether you're a painter, a musician, a poet, a writer. I hate when people start saying things like, oh man, I gotta leave New York, I can't take it, this, that, and the. It's usually somebody that's come in and hasn't made it. My answer to those people is, you can't hang, man. We don't want you. Leave. But don't worry. We always have an open door policy. You can always come back and we'll give you another chance. Where else are you gonna get the incredible variety of museums? That's just one example. We're in a museum right now. People would give their lives in other cities to have a museum like this one, just this one. And we have so many. Forget about Manhattan, you go to the outer boroughs. For me, the soul of the city is Brooklyn and the Bronx. That's the soul of New York. That concept of striving and thriving for your family and giving your children a better life, or giving them an opportunity to hopefully get a better life through education and work, etc. That's played out supremely in the Bronx and Brooklyn, where I'm from, the Bronx, in my case, the South Bronx. The most grateful thing that I have to New York is its cultural diversity. Bill Graham, who most people just know as a rock promoter, but he was a New Yorker through and through. He was very representative of the New York experience. He was an immigrant. He was a Nazi death camp survivor. He's 10 years old. A Jewish family adopts him in the Bronx, and he falls in love in the 1950s with Cuban music, mambo, cha-cha-cha. And if you read his biography, he says, the greatest thing that I have done in my life is win the Mambo Dance Contest at the Palladium Ballroom, which used to be on West 53rd Street and Broadway, which really was the place where integration first happened in the United States, because people of divergent backgrounds, economic statuses, all came together. You had Hollywood people, Broadway stars, movie stars, hobnobbing with who? The working class, Puerto Ricans, African Americans, Asians. They even had a section in the Palladium for gay people. Nobody cared. They just cared one thing. You were there to dance mambo and cha-cha-cha to these great orchestras, Machito and his Afro-Cubans, Tito Puente, Tito Rodriguez, and Bill was part of that. And then he changed the world with opening up the Fillmore East, the Fillmore West, discovering groups like the Grateful Dead, Santana, He was a great lover of jazz. He was like straight up New York. He'd tell you where to go in less than 30 seconds if he didn't dig you. And myself and my wife, Elena Martinez, the noted folklorist, we happened to be the artistic directors of the Bronx Music Heritage Center and the Bronx Music Hall. And what is our ethos? Bill Graham. What is our inspiration? Bill Graham. As a promoter, he always said, give them what they want, but also give them something that they need. So at the Fillmore West, he might have a group like the Grateful Dead, but who does he have opening up for them? Miles Davis or the Buddy Rich Big Band. That ethos of, well, they came here for the Grateful Dead, but I'm gonna expose them to something they've probably never heard before, or they have a misconception of. That's what Bill was all about. So I'd love to speak to him and shoot the shit, as we say in the city. We'd have a great convo. This is for the Museum of the City of New York. Cumpleaños feliz, te deseamos a ti. Cumpleaños el Museo de Nueva York. Cumpleaños feliz. Happy 100th birthday.
Amazing.